here. I probably should turn the fan on. Having like a hot flash. Hey there, welcome to the Pine Cottage. My name is Nicole and welcome to the March update, where I'm going to talk about all the things that I was working on in the month of March. I generally just like to jump right in and start talking about all the things that I've been working on. I really don't do much of an introduction beyond, hi, my name is Nicole, but I did have a request for a little bit of a lengthier introduction. I'm not really one to talk about myself and like personal details about my life. One, I don't know if you're interested in those kinds of things, but two, it's sort of a protection mechanism because my kids are kids and, you know, where exactly we live is a private thing, right? I feel like we share so many things on social media now and on the internet that some things are just meant to be private. I live in Northeast Ohio near the Great Lakes, and I live here with my husband and my 2 children and our dog. I should say their dog because I'm not a big fan of the dog, and I think I've mentioned that a couple times on here. But we live here, and I have not lived in Ohio my whole life, though I was born in Ohio. We've lived here since I was pregnant with my son. He is 10 now, so we've been here for about a decade. My family is here, so this is where I will probably stay. So I'm very close to my family and we spend a lot of time together, so this is where we live. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. If you are returning, thank you so much. I appreciate you continuing to watch. And if there's any specific questions that you want me to answer about me, my family, what I do, please feel free to ask me anything. I'm going to take a page out of Natalie from Nitty Natty's book and just say that if you have a question that you would like for me to answer in, you know, the next video or a video in the future, just put #question in the comment section and I will answer it. That's the best way for me to be able to filter through the comments and find the questions. So I'm pretty open to answering anything. I am not a professional knitter. I don't know all the answers to all the knitting questions, but if you're curious about how I do something or just a personal question about my life, please feel free to ask it. I will tell you that I have no finished objects this month. This is kind of a segue into what I do for a living. I mentioned in my last video that I was sick and had to stay home from work for a length of time because my son had given me pink eye, and I am a nurse. So I used up a lot of my personal vacation time to be home while I was sick. So this month I was working double so that I could make up those hours to have for our upcoming vacation. I work part-time out of the home, so I don't accrue those vacation or personal hours as fast as someone who works full-time. I am essentially working full-time, or had worked full-time this month, and I will continue to do so in the month of April. I didn't have a lot of knitting time, you guys. It's so sad. I sound like such a brat. I sound like such a spoiled brat because, I mean, there are a lot of people who work full-time and that's just their normal. And I will tell you, I realize how privileged I am. I'm just going to say that up front, so please don't come at me with how spoiled I am. But this was an overwhelming month for me. It was difficult for me, not because I couldn't knit, although yes, that was a downside, but it was difficult for me to get the things done I needed to around the house. As I've mentioned before, my son struggles with school, so working through homework with him is, you know, a process. So it's having to work all day as a nurse. You're on your feet all day. I see probably 25 to 30 patients a day, and then to come home and have to do all of the mom things really just knocked me out. Like, I just was really, really exhausted this month. Not here to whine about it, just here to tell you that I don't have anything finished. And I'm okay. I was expecting that. If you remember in the last video, I said, I don't know if I'll finish, but I'm gonna do the best I can. And pretty much that's how it was. I did the best I can. And you know, I'm not mad at what I accomplished. And I think that in the month of April, I'll be able to finish these things up. So I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. I'm just gonna move forward, and I hope you enjoy looking at my progress. Somebody's coming up the stairs. So I'm doing this today with everybody home. So I'm hoping I can get through this. So let's talk about what I did accomplish this month. My first work in progress is my no frills sweater.
That's just the case. But then I'll come, I look around. Of you, there's not a trace. It ain't enough for me.
This I'm really not upset about because I mentioned in the last one that the yarn for this sweater is out of stock. So I don't have enough for long sleeves on this. And I don't know that I would get the yarn in time for our vacation anyway. It says it's coming back in stock on April 21st. So it's quite possible that I could order the yarn, bring it with me on vacation, and then finish this sweater while we're away. Or I could try to just modify it and make it a short sleeved sweater. I'm not sure which I want to do. I have this sweatshirt that is a similar color, but I mean, it's a sweatshirt. I kind of want the sweater. So this is where I'm at so far. I have the collar, the raglan increases, I split for the sleeves, and I'm just churning away on the body here. I will tell you, I know that I've knit two raglan sweaters before this one, the Felix and the Monday Sweater Junior. And in the Felix sweater, it called for wrap and turns, and I don't know if I just didn't do them correctly or if it's just the nature of a wrap and turn. It left holes, like sporadically, I think, on each side of the front of the neckline. With the Monday Sweater Junior, hi honey, do you want to be in my podcast?
Me and Tim are going on a bike ride.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. It's a beautiful day. With the Monday Sweater Junior, it called for German short rows, but I know that I did not do them correctly, and it also left holes. With a no frill sweater, it calls for German short rows, and I watched the video on Petite Knit's website, or on the pattern. She left it, I think. And I actually did them correctly, and there are no gaps or holes, and it's so clean and beautiful. This is what I love about learning to knit. You're always learning. Or I'm always learning. There's always something new to learn. There's always something to improve. And my personality is one where if something is too difficult, I might get frustrated and rip it out and say, no, I don't want to do this right now, and go to something simpler. But I will revisit that difficult thing until I get the hang of it, until it becomes easy. And there's always something like that, I feel like, in knitting. There's always a more difficult pattern or a different technique or something new to learn that you can continue practicing until you master it. I like that. I like that challenge. I like challenging my brain that way. And when I need a break, I like that there's something that I'm comfortable with now. It was like that way when I first learned to knit socks. I was frustrated with it. I ripped them out and started over again and again. And now I have my recipe that I use and I love, and I continue to do that. Sorry, kids. There are patterns that I will not, or I shouldn't say will not, that I have not attempted yet, just because I know I don't feel like learning them right now. There are others that I know that I will. I haven't ventured into cabling yet, and I think that I will do that with socks. Actually, I've shown it before. There's a pattern in the 52 Weeks of Sock book that I'm going to attempt for my first cabling project, hopefully this year. So anyway, my point is that there's always something new to learn, and when you practice it, even if it's something that's challenging, it does become easy at some point. And that's just something that I love. I love getting to that point. So that's how I feel like, or that's where I feel like I am with raglan sweaters now. Like I feel like I understand the construction of them enough so that I don't have to rip back and I can just keep going, and it's fairly quick. So I mentioned that I shrunk my son's Monday sweater junior in the dryer, so I know that I'm going to have to make him a new sweater before Christmas, and I'm like, okay, no big deal, because I feel like I'm at a point where, hey, I got this. The raglan sweater is good. And, you know, there probably will be some of you out there that are like, yeah, Nicole, the raglan sweater is pretty easy peasy, pretty basic, but you know, we're all at different levels of knitting, and that's why I love doing podcasts like this and being on Instagram, you know, as a knitter in the knitting community, because we are all at different levels and there's so much that we can learn from each other. And for the most part, everybody is really supportive. If there's someone watching who is at a lower level or at a more basic level than I am and who can learn from me, that's what I'm here for. I mean, and to give inspiration to anybody who enjoys the same color palettes as I do, or the same patterns as I do, or just kind of meshes with my personality. I am glad you're here. Welcome. Everybody is welcome to my home, to my podcast, to my cottage. Anyway, God, why am I so chatty today? I don't even know. This is my progress for my no frill sweater. Not finished. Might not get finished until I'm on vacation, but it's all good. I did not mention what yarn I'm using for the no frill sweater. This is Squish DK, or is it Swish DK? I used to call my son Squish when he was a baby because he had the chubbiest thighs and he was just a chubby baby. So that was his nickname. His nickname was Squish. And I cannot remember, this happens every time I think of this yarn from Knit Picks. Is it Swish DK or Squish DK? I think it's Swish DK. Anyway, it's in the colorway Nutmeg Heather, and it's just a beautiful neutral. So that's the color. Next thing that I want to chat about are my March socks, which also are a work in progress.
Ain't enough for me to spend my time and care. If you're just gonna love me from way back over there, so step it up, step it up, step it up, baby, I'll be gone.
Halfway done. I mean, I don't know. I'm past the heel on the first one, and I'm just doing the foot. This is, sorry, let me get this out of the way. This yarn is by Hue Loco. This is the New Yorker colorway, which I did not know that it was going to knit up into these cute little stripes. And coincidentally, I had decided to stripe the cuff. So I feel like that's kind of cute. And so I'm just past the heel. I've done the decreases, and now I just have the foot and the toe to do on the first one. And then the second one, I've done the cuff and the leg. So I have not turned the heel yet on the second one. I did have a viewer ask me how I place my light bulb stitch markers when I'm doing my socks. I put the stitch markers every 20 rows, and I do this for a couple reasons. I like to knit my socks 2 at a time so that I don't fall into the second sock syndrome issue. And also I really, really like my socks to match. So it's easier for me to know exactly how many rows if I can just count by 20 for each placement of the marker. Also, the majority, I'm sorry about my dog. The majority of my socks are a recipe that I make over and over because so many people that I knit socks for wear the same size. And if they're the same size that I knit for myself. So I typically will do 70 or 75 rounds on the leg, and then I will do 72 rounds or 73 rounds whatever for the foot. It's just easier to count. I could do every 10 if I wanted, but I don't. I just do every 20. So yeah, that's that. I did start the sweater number 21 by My Favorite Things Knitwear for my daughter's birthday. My daughter's name is Antonia. She is going to be turning 13 at the beginning of May. I mentioned in the last one, she has requested a mesh sweater. You guys, I don't know if she's going to get this sweater because I started it, and I mean, really, I just started it, and I put it down because these needles, these are a US 13 9mm needle. They're humongous, and they're so uncomfortable to knit with, and this pattern is so open. It just hurt my hands, and I was not enjoying it at all. So I have to do 10 rounds of this pattern here. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna move on to the next part of the pattern. But if I'm still hating it after this, I might just frog it and make her something different. I might just make her a tank top or something, because I'm really not enjoying the process of this. And this goes back to what I was saying about something being difficult and you not wanting to work on it, but then you go back to it and practice and then it becomes easy. This might be one of those things for me where it's just a mental block and it's something that I need to overcome so that I can get better at it. But I don't know if I have the energy or the headspace right now to work past it. I'm gonna finish this section of the pattern and kind of see how I feel after that. There are some other things that she wants for her birthday as well, so it's not like this is the only thing that she's getting, so I don't feel like guilty that I'm potentially not going to give this to her. This is a learning curve for me. I mean, I can see how it would be really cute, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna pursue this. So that is another work in progress. And my last work in progress is, someone else is coming. The last work in progress I have to show you is my Battenberg crochet blanket. If this is your first time here, I am giving myself the goal of knitting 10 granny squares a month so that in December I can have a full, or by the end of December, I can have a full blanket. I have not reached that 10 granny square goal each month yet. And we're now going into month 4. So, but I've made up for it each month. So, you know, I have 25 squares. So I'm only 5 squares off. I decided instead of assembling all of the squares into the blanket in the month of December to just do it as I go, because I quite enjoy kind of seeing how it's going to play out. Just kind of crocheting the squares and collecting them in a basket doesn't appeal to me. I feel like I would get bored just like seeing the squares there, but actually being able to unfold and look at the blanket as I go is motivating for me. So that is what I did this month. I knit 5 of the plain squares. I'll show you a picture of what the Battenberg concept is, where you're alternating a neutral square or any color solid square you want, but traditionally it is a white or a cream colored square with some colored squares. I have chosen to do more of an earthy toned blanket, so this is what I have so far. And it's not even in, you know, like a square or rectangle. It's kind of just whatever. So you can kind of see how it's going. Now these are closed granny squares so that you get that X pattern. And this neutral that I'm using is from Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks Bare, I can't remember. I'll put it up on the screen. It's a bare fingering weight yarns, superwash merino. And then I'm just alternating. All the colored squares are either from minis that I have or from leftover skeins of sock yarn. So this is something that I will be able to put in the washing machine, and either I can lay it flat to dry or put it on a low setting in the dryer. So I'm excited about how it's turning out. You know, I think I told you in my Finish or Frog It video how I was not going to finish my Cozy Memories blanket. And some of you might be saying, Nicole, this is kind of a similar concept. Yes, it is, but I enjoy the process of knitting a granny square much more than I enjoy the process of knitting a mitered square. I don't know where the disconnect is for me, but this is just much more enjoyable. So I'm going this route, and so far it's really, really fun. So if you are a crocheter, I started as a crocheter. So to me, crochet is just like second nature. I don't have to think about it. It's fun. I can just knit granny squares all evening while I watch TV or whatever. So if crochet is your thing, then you might want to try it out. I'm going to go ahead and link the videos that Sandra from Cherry Heart, she has a crochet podcast, that she put out for this, because I'm not really following her Battenberg pattern. My granny squares are larger than what she uses for her blanket. So I'm just kind of modifying it based on what size I liked, and I just used her video to learn how to join them together. So the back of this looks like this, and I'm just joining them as I go. So that's the back, and then the front. So she has a video tutorial on how to join those, so I will link that for you. And any other video tutorial that she has pertaining to the Battenberg, I will link in the description box. I just feel like she explains everything very easily. It's easily adaptable to what you want to do. Please go check her out. I also want to talk about some acquisitions. Before I show you all the things that I bought, I just want to talk a little bit about the fact that I am a minimalist. I choose to live a minimalist lifestyle because I am not a minimalist naturally. I am someone who moved around a lot as a child, and we were always having a garage sale, having to sell some things because we were going to be packing to move. And we never really stayed in a place long enough for it to feel like I had roots there. So I always felt like the only thing that I had that felt like home was my stuff. And so as an adult, I just collected things and gave them way more emotional meaning than they needed to have. So for me, for my brain as an adult, it helps me to practice minimalism so that I don't overconsume, so that I don't have more things in my home than I need. I don't have a cluttered home. I have a more organized home, and it helps my brain to work better, but it does not come naturally. I naturally want to collect all the things. I want to have all the books. I want to have all the yarn. And it's like a safety net for me. But I've kind of turned that on its head so that I can enjoy less. I can think more clearly. My financial situation is way better. And it just works to clear my head so that I can focus on the things that are important. I know that I'm not going anywhere. I will probably live in this house until I cannot live on my own anymore when I'm old and gray. I hope. I don't need things to feel safe anymore, to feel at home anymore. I'm home. I'm okay. So minimalism has really helped me to get through that. I'm sure that's way deeper than some of you wanted to get with me when you asked me to introduce myself a little bit deeper, but these are the reasons that I do these things. So if I talk about minimalism on this channel, I just want you to know I'm not coming from a place where I'm talking down to anybody who's not a minimalist. I'm telling you, I am not naturally a minimalist. I do these things to help me. Minimalism for me is a tool, and it is a very effective tool in my life. So if you guys ever have questions about how I incorporate that into my lifestyle or anything like that, feel free to ask. I actually spent a lot of time this month when I was in a state of overwhelm. Instead of knitting, I just wanted to purge things and declutter things. And I actually worked on my capsule wardrobe a lot this month. So I went into my closet, I got rid of things that I don't need or don't wear, and I pared down my clothes so that I think I have like, I'm looking at my closet right now from here. I think I have like 25 hangers in my closet, and that's what I've narrowed my clothing down to. So that doesn't count like bathing suits and you know, pajamas, that kind of thing, but actual things that I would wear as an outfit. And so that kind of overflows into, you know, when I'm choosing a knitting pattern, I'm choosing to knit things that either I'm going to gift to someone else, or choosing things that I know that I will wear over and over until, you know, there are holes in it. So classic pieces, you know, I've chosen so far a couple petite knit patterns because they're classic pieces that really kind of don't have the potential to go out of style. Something that's more on the trendier side, I'm gonna veer away from because I know that I'm just gonna wear it into the ground and I need it to be in style for as long as it lasts. Totally off topic here. But I wanted to tell you why I ended up buying these things that I bought. I didn't need to buy the things that I bought, and why sometimes I fall into this trap, and why I have chosen minimalism to help me navigate that. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but this is me. So the first thing that I bought was from a fiber collective on Instagram. Some of you may follow that page. And I purchased the hand salve. This is similar to what I showed in the What's in My Bag video. I always carry around Tufts woolens. I can't talk. Their hand balm with me. And so I wanted to try this one, and the scent is bergamot black tea, or bergamot, however you say it. It smells great. And it's just like a little tube that you can push up hand salve. So I got that, and I got this little needle, darning needle case. That's also one thing that I didn't show in the What's in My Bag video. I do keep a needle in my bag to weave in the ends, but I don't have a container for it. I usually just stick it in the zipper part of that little pouch. So I really liked this little tube, and you could keep the needles in there so they don't get lost. So this will go right into that little black pouch that I have in my bag. So I got that from them as well. And then they have like a monthly collection, like boxes that you can subscribe to. I am not a subscriber, but sometimes they have overflow, like when the month is over, and they had posted some things that they had extra of. So I did order a sock set. This is from Autumn and Indigo Fibers. And this is in their Ego sock base, 75 non-superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this is just like a bare color with this light golden color, which I thought was very springy. And then on March 14th was Pi Day, and all the yarn dyers were posting, oh, buy this sock set for Pi Day, you know, and they had like different flavors of pie for their sock sets, and I fell right into that trap. Like I needed another sock set, but this was Pecan Pie by Coast to Coast Yarn Company, and it looked beautiful. So I bought it, because who doesn't want a pair of socks that look like pecan pie, right? So this was my other impulse purchase. And then I got my March sock set from my yarn subscription from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And this is in the colorway Dandelion. And this is not their March. I showed you their March last time. This is the April colorway. So it is officially April 2nd. So I feel like it's safe to show you. If you don't want to see it yet, or if you haven't received yours yet, don't look. But this is the April sock set in the color Dandelion for their Sock Squad subscription. And this is cute because the green is like the grass, and then the sock skein is like little dandelions popping up. And I don't know about you, but I love dandelions. My dad is obsessive about his yard, and he always treats it with chemicals because he doesn't want the dandelions. I'm the opposite. The animals eat the dandelions. My dog likes to eat the dandelions when his stomach is upset. You can make dandelion tea. Dandelions are a wonderful thing. So we do not treat our lawn. I love dandelions. So this is gonna make a cute little pair of socks. I'm also not knitting up socks each month from necessarily this subscription because some months, like for April, I'm going to be knitting my daughter's birthday socks. So I'm not using this because she already had requested a color. And so I'll show you that now. She requested this skein that she found in my stash that she liked, and this is by Ash and Bumble. This is the colorway Sagebrush. And so these are going to be her birthday socks. And then I have these like leftover skeins that I can use for, you know, tops of the cuff or toes that go along with this. She likes that color combination. And I think I might do a shorter leg. She's really into crew socks right now. I think that's the trend for teens, is to wear some crew socks with their Birkenstocks. So I think she would like a crew sock length for the leg. So I'm going to work on that. And I also decided to do a pattern because this is a tonal. And I think I'm going to do the free pattern, the Hermione sock pattern. And I'm not going to follow the pattern for anything except for the actual stitch pattern on the leg and the top of the foot. And I can link that below. It's a free pattern, but I just printed out the chart for the stitch pattern, and I think I'm just going to do that, incorporate that into her birthday sock. The other thing, I did purchase one more thing. Actually, yeah, just one more thing. I was looking for more mini skeins for the granny square Battenberg blanket, and so I went on the Nomadic Yarns website on Etsy, and they just happened to have some mini skeins for sale. And so I picked these 4 earthy colors to incorporate into the Battenberg blanket. And I just really liked those. So that is all I have to show you today. I do want to touch on the fact that I mentioned in the last video that I was going to try to be joining the Vest Friends Mal because I wanted to knit a vest for my dad for Christmas. I did receive the yarn that I chose for the vest, and I have narrowed down the pattern that I want to knit, but I'm not going to be able to knit it for the make-along. This happens to me all the time. I feel like I get so excited to join a make-along, and then things happen where there's just no way that I'm going to be able to finish it by the time the make-along's over. So I need to just stick to my personal schedule and what works best for me. And it kind of makes me sad sometimes because I would like to be able to join in and knit with everybody else with what they're doing. And my time seems to always be on not everybody else's time. So I'm okay with it. I'm gonna wait. I maybe will do it in June or July, and I will show you at that time the yarn and the pattern that I chose for that. So, but you have until the end of April if you decide that you want to join the Vest Friends Mal. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, so I can link that for you below as well. April, I'm going to work on something, quite possibly the sweater number 21 for my daughter. The April socks are going to be her birthday socks, and I'm going to finish these things that are not finished. And I think that's plenty. If there is anything that you would like to see on this podcast, if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, or if you have any questions for me, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I am so glad to have you here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.